So in this show, we have fairies, we have centaurs, and we have fauns, which are like the half goat type creatures that we see in here. And I think a lot of things that we see from this show is the prejudice from the humans going over to these creatures. And it's maybe they're trying to do a lot of real world stuff, but instead of using other humans, they're using these creatures as what the humans are prejudiced against. But I think it's really depicted well, the way they show that. And I think that, that's probably what it would be if it was truly like this, because most of these creatures are now servants for man. Like a lot of them aren't free. And it seems like they're trying to fit in the world of man. You see them wearing clothes like humans wear. I'm sure that's probably not what they wore in their regular before they got taken over by humans. And they're just doing like servants. A lot of them are butlers and maids. And it seems like the fairies are like prostitutes. I think that most of them, I haven't seen them really doing more than that. Yeah, I think some of them do sell some type of elixirs and potions, but the majority of fairies are prostitutes. I'm going to talk about this, Eleanor. I have to bring this up really quick. The fairy sex. Now, I know that people, people may have had dreams about having sex with Tinkerbell when you were little. Maybe you had a crush on Tinkerbell. I think this is where it comes from. But it looks very interesting to me. It really does. I mean, for someone to lift you off the bed and fly with you, and I think that's a very interesting concept. What do you think about the fairy sex?
Oh, actually, that was in my notes, but I am please don't throw stuff at me, but I'm very particular when it comes to details. And yeah, I get it. When I saw it the first time, I'm like, whoa, that's how it feels usually, right? You feel like you're flying.
I hope so.
and they actually made you fly over there. So good for him. However, I mean, I love the representation of it, but me being extra picky with stuff, like, how is she holding his back? Why is he not leaning more forward? No, it was very, very, when you're watching it for the first time, you're in it. You can feel it. You can feel how they represented that side of them. And I'm glad they did it this way. I'm glad they represented it this way. I was just kind of watching it a second time. I was like going tilted like this, like, okay, how is she? How are they doing that? That's interesting. Is she holding him with her legs under there? Like that was really, really fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I thought it was fun to watch. And I'm saying, I really believe that the people who made this show, when they were children, they wanted to do this with Tinkerbell, and they said, hey, we're going to make this realistic, and that's how I do it. So it seems like that is what the fairies are reduced to. And it seems that the other creatures are reduced to more servant roles.
The main relationship that we see over there is between Philo and Vignette. Those are the two characters that we see from different angles, but they kind of merge somewhere mid or beginning of this first episode. And we are revealed to some of the history, but not yet. And for those who have seen the trailer or trailers for this, we were kind of spoiled to it. So we kind of knew it's coming, but I don't think it took away much from it, even though knowing it. I would recommend, I mean, obviously, since you're listening to it, you are going to get spoilers. So hello. But if you're recommending to somebody else that after watching it, you want to recommend it, I would tell them not to watch the trailers if possible. Just jump into it. And we have, like I said, we have history that we know there's a history between them. And I think they did it the right way. They didn't just show it, the history in the beginning. They kind of took their time to kind of evolve it throughout the episode.
I liked it. You know, I didn't see the trailers for it, so I didn't really know too much it was going. I just know that in the beginning she has this picture of this dude. She's saying that she's wearing this braid.
Yeah, widow's braid.
A widow's braid. So that this is what in their culture they wear this braid when they're a widow. So obviously she must have felt like she was married to this man. So I didn't know if this is her husband or anything. And it turns out this is Orlando Bloom's character. And then eventually they run into each other, right? And she finds out that he's still alive. And this chick this is not your average fairy, all right? No, she's not no little lovey-dovey little fairy. This chick, she went and grabbed a knife and she went to find him.
Yeah.
And she went and she did find him, and she wound up sitting on top of him, and she was not trying to lift him in the air when she was sitting on top of him, like we seen earlier in the show. She put the knife right to his neck and was ready to slice his head off. Well, it seemed like she was going to do it, but she could not bring herself to do it.
Yeah, it was. They showed emotion, and with him, again, this is they don't just spill it. He doesn't just say, "Oh, this is what happened," and they do the whole reveal over there. We see the pain in his eyes, so he is in pain. There was a reason, and we still don't know what the reason was. I at least don't know why he left her, because it turns out that he didn't die. Obviously, he didn't die, and she didn't know that he didn't die, but he left her for some reason, and he doesn't say what happened, why he left her. We just see pain in his eyes. He's crying. Actually, we can see tears kind of falling on one side, like he's actually crying there, and he wants her to kill him. He says something like, just do it. So he is hurting. Throughout this episode, we see it earlier, there is some heaviness, some PTSD from the war that they all were into, and at first I would think that this is just the PTSD from the carnage and just the horrible things that he's seen and had to do, but apparently there's more to that. There is this emotion and involvement with Vignette that was not resolved.
Yeah, because you could see it later on in one of the first episode. It's looked down upon if you're sleeping with like fairies and these other creatures that aren't humans, right? Because he punches the one guy in the face when the guy says something about, oh, like slipping inside of her is like doing something to some other animal. He gets mad and punches in his face. And it seems that he is, when you're introduced to his character, like he is an inspector on the side of all the creatures. Like he's trying to find out, protect them from the humans mostly. Because in the beginning, we see that there's some guy that I think they're trying to make him like Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
The first guy. And he's going around here and he has to find out who Jack the Ripper is. And that's his first little mystery. Mm-hmm. And he figures it out. The guy's going around killing all of the fairies and cutting them open and everything else. And he figures out who it is. And then the guy basically kills himself. Before the guy does kill himself, he says there's a darkness coming. And then there's some darkness that's unseen. And then at the end of the other episode, you see this darkness, you see the darkness, whatever it is, some other creature, grab one of these fairies and basically just like pull their guts out and just rip them to shreds. And you see that. And it's very graphic. I mean, it shows you, we definitely have to be a rated R if it was in a movie theater, some things like that. And it shows you all the insides and everything else that's cut it out. And it's I think it's good because it goes into the autopsy. It goes into everything else and what they would do back then. I like the way that they did that, and they do his detective work that he's trying to figure out all these things. So from the way he was presented that he's a pro fairy or creature, whatever you want to call these things. He's pro that more than with the humans. But how did he get to the side of fighting with them over the humans as he's a human himself? They haven't explained that yet. And I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how that happened, how he got on their side fighting with them, and how he actually must have fell in love with this fairy and why he told her he was dead for all those years and died. Something must have happened there that she can't even forgive him for after the first 2 episodes. And we only watched the first 2 episodes, folks. And that's it. And we'll keep going on through it. If y'all like to hear about it, we're going to keep on going through this. I think it's interesting. I think it's a pretty good show. When I look at all of the architecture, I love it. And I love the costumes that the ladies are all wearing, all that old school big butt dresses.
That's
what it is, right? That's what these women, it's like supposed to make your ass look bigger, right? I mean, I wonder why they got away from that. I wouldn't mind that coming back into style. I really wouldn't, because everyone's got a big ass, and this every woman and stuff. That brings us to that one blonde hair lady who's very stuck up.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, that stuck-up lady, because that's who she starts to work. She works for his family, her brother, and her brother basically tries to not rape her, but tell her, listen, if you do special favors for me, then you could pay. Because what happens is she comes in off the boat gets destroyed, and she survives, and he owned the boat that got destroyed. And when he comes in, she's a now indentured servant to him. Like she has to pay off his debt for the boat ride, even though the boat was destroyed. So he picks her up basically like a cupbearer for his sister in there, so she could do that. So these people are indentured servants, which is basically slavery for white people. That's how they do white people slavery. They call it indentured servitude. And that's what she is at this particular time. And he tells her, if you want to work this off faster, you could do some sexual favors for me. But she's not all about that life. And then he makes up a big lie about her, that she assaulted him and everything else. And she's forced to leave and then she goes to the brothel.
Yeah.
With her friend, with one of her friends that hanging out in the brothel.
Yeah, so the entirety of it, it's so much fun, knowing that this is not, and going back to whatever you said, also to what you said in the beginning here, the bad evil, or the, I think they call it the bad evil or something, that it's called that. At first I thought that the main thing of it would be chasing whoever's killing those creatures, fairies and fae. I think they're called fae folk. But it turns out that no, this was just something that was concluded, and then there's this big evil, still there, and all the mystery, the solving. It's like I said, going on with beautiful costumes. Just that is just gorgeous. The industrial revolution, we can see that that is depicted, I think, I would say perfectly in a way. Besides the fairies, and all the other creatures, it's done really nicely. And the showing of them being in a way slaves over there, they have to pay it off, they have to work it off, and the struggles that people had to go through. And this fairy or pixie, from Fae folk, Vignette, she's that's one of the dangers. You're there, you have to work whatever debt you have, and you're going to be faced probably with things like that, with this man just thinking that he owns her and anything about her body too. And some people would give into that, apparently, because for whatever reason they just want to have it done and over with, be done with it quicker. But no, not her. And that's actually leading her on this one, I'm assuming, wonderful path of freedom. It won't be that great in the beginning, I think, but she made her choice, right? She ran away. She actually was willing to work in the brothel. That kind of got me thinking, she wouldn't do that for him, but she was willing to work in a brothel for herself. But again, there's a difference. This is somebody forcing you, not giving you any choice, and you are making your own choice to be in a brothel. So there's a difference between that. At first, I'm like, wait a minute, she could have done that. She would be still having a safe place to go. But then again, like, no way. Like, if somebody forces you to do that, it's completely different versus you deciding to do it on your own. So I kind of got where she was coming from with that.
Yeah, and was she actually willing to do the sex work, or she just sweep around?
No, I know, that's why there was this joke, like, I'm a good whatever she called herself, and her friend said something, no, you're horrible, and they're like, no, you're good. So it's like they know the dynamic, which was fun to, like, yeah, I would not want to see her in a brothel. I mean, I'm sure I want to see her on a different path. I don't want this to be continuation of her journey in the brothel. We already have a friend in the brothel. Let her do some other stuff, and that's when she's exposed to this other lifestyle, dangerous lifestyle that will put her. She'll be on the other side of the law at this moment.
Yeah, without a doubt. So I'm going to say that so far so good. We'll get into more of this stuff later on a later podcast. We'll keep going on and go into episodes 3 and 4, and then we'll start truly breaking it down. But the question we're trying to answer right here, Elamar, is this show the next Game of Thrones? Do you see this as the next runaway hit that Game of Thrones was?
Wow, Tony, nothing will beat or top Game of Thrones. That goes without saying, but I just said it. As an escape from us who are recovering after the shock of, not shock, but, mourning after Game of Thrones, this will be something that I will be watching. I'm very picky after that, and not picky because of how I was spoiled with Game of Thrones, but just picky as a consumer because I see a lot of different things in it, different flaws that are there. But however, I'm able to enjoy it for what it is, for the beautiful scenery, the costumes, and with the effort that they're trying to put into it. But some consumers of this may like it more than I do, and I completely get it, and some may not like it because they're extra picky. But I think I'll enjoy it, and I'll just this is the best one thus far that I know of. If there's anything else that I will love better, I'll let you know.
No doubt. Well, answer the question, is it the next Game of Thrones? My answer is point blank, no. It will never pick up, that I believe, the fandom that Game of Thrones picked up. I don't see it being that way. Number one, I think the problem is when you have any one of these shows that are streaming and they're released all in the bunch. Now, I love binge watching, but I don't think you get the build up as you get from a weekly series. When you have a weekly series, you have a time to speculate. You have the time to think of what's going to happen next. When you have the ability to just go and watch the whole show, I don't think that you can do that speculation. And a lot of what made Game of Thrones popular is that it came out once a week, and then people would make a lot of videos on it, and then the
Mhm.
other fans would come because they'd be so interested in seeing what's going to happen in the next episode. And it becomes like an event, right? It becomes like Sunday is Game of Thrones night. You start looking forward to it. You get people to come over. You don't have that same event feeling when you have these binge shows that come out. So I don't think that there really can be a binge show that can become the next Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
I think it could be a hit. I think that they did a great job with, especially the special effects look great. And all the creatures, the makeup looks great. I think the costumes look great. Maybe we'll get a costume expert over here to explain some of
Yeah.
these costumes for us. We'll have to see if we can get one of those people on there and see if we can explain exactly what we're looking at with these costumes.
Mhm.
Because the costumes are phenomenal. I love all the way they look, but I just don't think that, for those reasons I stated earlier, that it could be the next Game of Thrones. But I look forward to watching it, and I had a good time and enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, it was fun watching it. It was good stuff. I'm very picky when it comes to things, but as a consumer, I'm able to kind of put that away and just let it entertain me, just for the entertainment value.
Exactly.